Morning. I've been sitting outside this morning with a green smoothie and a coffee. It's a bit chilly actually, but I was just reflecting on a live that I was watching yesterday from the World Health Organization talking about suicide. Did you know that the 10th of September, just 2 days ago, was World Suicide Prevention Day? Suicide is responsible for 800,000 deaths globally each year, which equates to one suicide every 40 seconds. And for every suicide, 25 people make a suicide attempt and many more have suicidal thoughts. Many that, we just don't even know about. I don't remember seeing anything coming up in mainstream media or social media on the 10th. I think because we've been so consumed by COVID. Hello! This is Izzy. That we just haven't really stopped to think about anything else. So it was really nice to see the WHO's update actually stop and recognise suicide.
Today is World Suicide Prevention Day. Every 40 seconds, someone somewhere dies by suicide. Every single death is a tragedy for the family and friends who have lost someone they love, and for whole communities. Suicide affects people all over the world, regardless of gender, age, or economic status. Tragically, suicide is the second leading cause of death among 15 to 29-year-olds. There is much that can be done to bring down suicide rates. At the national level, every country must have a comprehensive multi-sectoral suicide prevention strategy. We know what works: restricting access to the means of suicide, including pesticides and firearms, building life skills among young people that enable them to cope with stresses in their life, early identification, management, and follow-up of people at risk of suicide. And you in the media can play your part by reporting sensitively on suicide. And if life ever feels so hard that you don't know how you can go on, I encourage you to reach out for help.
Thank you, Dr. Tedros.
Now, well, I have never stepped over that line of contemplating taking my life. I certainly know that I've had times in my life where I have suffered intense grief. I remember when the children's dad and I separated and falling into this real dark hole of feeling like we'd failed the kids, feeling like we had failed them that opportunity to have and experience family. And yet it was family, my brother, my mother, friends, that through being there in that time of grief pulled me out. And I realised that I could reframe my definition of family to not just be blood related, or the expectation that society places on the white picket fence, you get married, 2 kids, good job, but rather family is those that are around you, that love you, that support you, that care for you. I remember back in my 20s, I had a close friend that took his life. Genuine Kiwi guy, loved the outdoors. His dad was a pilot and he was following in his dad's footsteps by also training to be a pilot. But I remember that he never felt like he ever lived up to the expectations he felt placed on him. He was always so good at hiding his pain. There were times when I could see past his smile and feel his sadness, but I never, ever thought that he would have taken his life. Now, I find expectation really interesting to explore because it creates this gap of comparison of where I think I am now compared to where I expect I should or shouldn't be, or this person here is not relating in the way I expect they should or shouldn't, or this experience that I'm in is not meeting my expectations of how I think it should be. And expectation, that's derived out of our beliefs, right, of how we think something should be, based on everything that we have learned up to this point in time. Now, I've been writing a book called Rise to Your Potential. Well, that's the name that I have on it at the moment. And there's a whole chapter in there where I explore freedom and expectation. and what I call the freedom formula. And that was born out of a conversation with my daughter a few years back when she had come home from her father's, tears rolling down her face, sharing some of the unconscious words he had spoken. And I remember getting out a pen and paper and talking about how in life we have a vision of how we see it. And if our internal state of how we think and feel and our external environment of people, places and activities do not meet our expectations, we can feel trapped, disappointed, angry, pain, sadness. And when they do match, we feel free, joyful, alive. I remember that we put all of her dad's words into this little imaginary box and we gifted them back to him with love. Thank you, Dad, but those aren't my words to own. I gift them back to you with love. You know, there will be times in life where we feel free and times where we feel trapped, and it's within that entrapment that we can expand and grow. There's times when we feel trapped, you know, there's those opportunities that allow us to think about other ways that we can get out, other options, other ways to opt out. How do we change the global conversation so that one of those options to opt out isn't suicide? I need to move that horse and I need to move the horse behind me. But I'd just like to leave you with a video that I saw this morning of this beautiful teacher in Portugal. I was watching this and I was thinking, wow, imagine more of this compassionate creativity in our world. Imagine the difference it would make to the lives of our children and then everyone that they connect with. So how do we change our conversations? How do we change our actions so that our internal world and our external environment create more freedom in our lives?